Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Mani. We are from Philo Group A1. My group members are Leon Wilong, Nuri Maisara, Nur Afida, Nurdiana, and Lisa. I'm going to talk about the background of Wilbur Schramm. My talk will be in three parts, which is early life and education, job, and contribution. Early life. Wilbur Schramm, also known as Schramm, was born in 5 August 1907 and died on 27 December 1987. He was born in Marietta, Ohio, to a musical and middle-class family whose ancestry hailed from Schramberg, Germany. He was a scholar and authority on mass communications. Education. He graduated Phi Beta Kappa from Marietta College, where he received a bachelor's degree in political science. He also received a master's degree in American Civilization from Harvard University. In 1932, he received a PhD in American Literature from the University of Iowa, where he studied under Norman Foster. In 1935, he was hired as an assistant professor in the University of Iowa's English department and was promoted to associate professor in 1939, full professor in 1941. In 1947, he moved to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign as director of the Institute of Communication Research, which he set up as flexible and non-territorial organization unlike traditional academic departments. He founded the Lower Writers in 1935 and served as its first director until 1941. He also created the first academic degree granting programs with communications. In 1961, he was appointed Janet Peck Professor of International Communication until he retired as Professor Emeritus in 1973. Schramm stated that communication will become more personalized within the next 10 years and that it is conceivable that you will be carrying around your own telephone within that time. Readers would be able to phone the news distribution center and say, "Send me 3 columns at last night's hockey games and a full review of the Cuban situation."
Hello, my name is Leon Wilong. I'm going to talk about the definition of philosophy. Philosophy is the teenager's attempt of reasoning meant to think through the most fundamental issues of life to reach reasonable conclusion on first things and last things, to suggest the worthwhile goals that command loyalty of individuals and groups. Philosophy is a persistent effect of both ordinary and persistent the people to make life as intelligible and meaningful as possible. So next, I'm going to talk about the nature of philosophy. Nature of philosophy was the philosophical study of more natural and the physical universes that was dominant before the development of modern science. It is considered to be a process of natural science such as physical. Natural philosophy was the common term for the particle of studying nature. Natural science historical development out of philosophy, or more specifically natural philosophy. So now I'm going to talk about the nature of philosophy by the Wilbur Schramm. Wilbur Schramm introduced a theory on the process of human communication in 1951. He introduced the concept of field of experience, which I show the picture now, in human communication. Schramm theory indicated communication and feedback occurs simultaneously. This process is also known as transactional communication. That has 5 elements, which is encoder, decoder, interpreter, message, and feedback. Encoder is the process of translating a message into code. Decoder is the act of translating from the code symbol into ordinary language, while the interpreter is an act of assigning meaning to the code or symbol. So the next is message. Message is the message is any symbol or collection of symbol which has meaning or utility.
Hello everyone, today I would like to explain to you guys about the implication of it. Firstly, do you guys know what is communication? Schramm is known as a founder of the communication studies. He has explained that communication is a two-way process when both sender and receiver take turns to send and receive a message. For examples, how we communicate with our family, siblings, or friends on our daily basis, or maybe with strangers too. On to my second point, communication always required three elements such as sources, the message, and the destination. Apparently, the sources encode a message and transmit it to the destination via some channels where the message is received and decoded. While encoding plays a very important role because it initiates the process of communication by converting the thought into content. When information reaches the recipient, her first task is to figure out what speaker is trying to say. However, if the second party is understand or decode the information, what the sender wants to communicate, the message is actually useless. Moreover, according to the Schramm's model, coding and decoding are two essential processes of an effective communication. Without it, the information can never flow between two individuals. I think that's all for me. I give the presentation to the next presenter. Thank you.
Thank you for the previous presenter. Now, as you can see on the screen, I would like to concentrate on communication as a discipline. When we consider communication as a discipline, it can be understood that it is one of the newest or youngest discipline. As a discipline, it evolved just before the Second World War. To begin with, communication studies was based in university, departments of sociology, psychology, or political science during its initial years. During the Second World War, the United States was conducting different kinds of researches to help in better propaganda to influence public opinion. Most of the forerunners of the discipline, like Wilbur Schramm, was indulged in these researches during the wartime. Schramm was a forefather in the development of a basic model of communication. His model is a derivation of Shannon-Weaver transmission model of communication with certain modifications. The Shannon-Weaver model is more mathematical and technological, with 6 proposed elements of communication such as source, encoder, message, channel, decoder, and receiver. This is a diagram of Schramm's feedback loop. As you can see the diagram which is shown, Schramm envisioned the process as a two-way communication between the sender and the receiver and included 2 more concepts in addition to the above 6 elements. The most important part is the feedback, because feedback is essential in communication, so as to know whether the recipient has understood the message in the same terms as intended by the sender and whether she agrees to that message or not. Schramm pointed out that for understanding to take place between the sender and receiver, they must have something in common, that is their field of experience should overlap to make communication effective. Thus, he incorporated the study of human behavior in the communication process. Next, we move to the diagram of Schramm's field of experience model of communication. According to the Schramm suggestion, he suggests that a message can be complicated by different meanings perceived by different people. Meanings can be denotative and connotative. Denotative meanings are the common meaning and they are roughly the same for most people, while connotative meanings are emotional and evaluative and are based on personal experience. Schramm's model of communication allows for the process of interpreting the message, which is influenced by the presence of both physical and semantic noise. His model of communication provides the rationale to solve some problems of communication. I'm now in the end of my presentation. Next, we move to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Nujana and I will present slide of application of Wilbur's Schramm models. Look at the example in the slide above. What you can see, they all have only one common thing, that is a continuous talk. Wilbur's Schramm model will be complete if the sender will get the information that he or she needed. There are many ways how to use Wilbur's Schramm model. It's just that people do not aware of it. In a society, Scrum models is that participant as both sender and receiver the message. As you can see on the previous slide, all the examples of a conversation are based on the continuous start. Just look at example number 2. Answering and questioning between teacher and student is a way such to have a conversation. Based on Wilbur's Schramm, this model takes into allows individuals' knowledge, experience, and culture upbringing play an important role in a communication. If people from different cultures rely or religions or backgrounds having a conversation, they tend to interpret the message in a wrong way. It was because the meaning of some words are positive and negative meaning based on their culture. As example, Milano means by money is pure, but other culture that doesn't know it will interpret the meaning money is actually people from clay. In research, reversal models serve as a valuable purpose for students of communication because they allow us to see specific concepts and steps within the process of a communication, define the communication, and apply the communication concepts. Encoding plays an important role because it turns the thought into communication. When the informant reaches the recipient, his prime responsibility there is to understand what the speaker intends to convey. By giving the feedback into the recipient, reversal model have been used there. Schramm's model also adds the concept of field of experience to the conversation process as an important factor in a communication. Just a look at example number 4 and example number 5 from the example slide, previous slides. The boss that will ask who, where, when, what, and how about your presentation and password to get more clear information. This kind of a question also used by researchers and students to find information of their research.
Hello everyone, I am Lisa and I want to talk about the part of the conclusion. So, the conclusion for this research, philosophy is important in our life to enhance a person's problem-solving capacities. As we know, one of the key thinkers of philosophy in communication is Wilbur Schramm, who found the new academic field of communication within existing university structures. Besides that, we also need to know how important to studying the nature of the philosophy because it is considered to be the precursor of natural science as physics. Besides that, we also know that communication is very awesome because communication is important in our daily life to understand about the message that been given by others to us. Conversation with others could be formal or informal. So, we also need to have a question and answer session in every communication to having a better communication with others. I think that's all from me. Thank you.